How does the director properly establish a character when they are first introduced? Exposition? Narration? Maybe they introduce themselves and explain who they are. There are several ways this can be done, and none of them are incorrect. However, some are more impactful than others.
Es gibt nur Positives.
Let's take a look at Spectre and see how they establish the main antagonist character in his introductory scene. So let's get the context for the scene out of the way. James Bond, aka 007, is a super spy for the British government agency known as MI6. At the beginning of the film, Bond takes down a member of the terrorist organization known as Spectre in Mexico City. He takes the member's ring and uses that to infiltrate the meeting that you are about to see.
Chi sei?
Sono Topolino. E tu chi saresti?
Chiedo scusa.
James slowly enters the large room with ominous music playing. The audience can hear the speaker talking about their plans, and the tension rises as both the audience and James realize that he is now in the belly of the beast.
HIV and 40% of all oncological drugs across sub-Saharan Africa. But
He looks down and notices that a seat is empty. The leader is absent.
we face challenges from the WHO in their campaign against our counterfeit pharmaceuticals. We have now identified the key individuals to target. We expect the same success as we had against the Council on Human Trafficking. Dr. Vogel, je vous en prie.
Seit Rücktritt des Vorstands haben
This
wir
woman starts talking in a
160.000
different language, and you can see the other members wearing translating earpieces so they can understand what she is saying. This once again reminds the audience that this is a global organization.
Dass unsere Fähigkeiten erstklassig sind und nun der Augenblick für aggressive Expansion gekommen ist. Es gibt nur Positives.
Then the doors open. Everyone stands and waits for this new character to be seated. This is obviously the leader, and someone of great power. In the next shot, he is silhouetted from the light behind him. The director is keeping his face a mystery, and for good reason: fear of the unknown. He takes a long pause with everyone still standing, and then turns his head to his assistant, telling him to grab the mic for him and bring it closer to him. He could easily reach for it himself, but him telling someone else to do it shows so much about his character and the power that he holds.
Don't let me interrupt you.
He has such a presence in the film, an atmosphere that surrounds him, one of fear and respect, or perhaps respect from fear. Now that he is in the room, pay attention to the woman and how she speaks now. Look how nervous she is.
Es gibt nur Positives zu berichten.
You don't even need to speak the language to understand that she is scared. This man has so much power that if he wanted to, she could be gone in a second.
Wir stehen vor dem Sieg.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, on to the matter at hand. After
The member begins speaking, but James's focus is purely on the leader, staring at him with great intensity. He talks about the events that happened in Mexico involving the member that James killed, and how his job needs to be replaced.
Outstanding. Senor Guerra, the Pale King must be terminated. Will you make the journey to Altosi?
Por supuesto. Mi lealtad a esta organización es absoluta. La protegeré hasta mi último aliento. Ya no habrá más aficionados. No veremos más muestras de debilidad.
He accepts. Another very long pause, only to be followed by a very slight tilt of the head, letting his assistant know that he wants to speak to him. Now the member is signaled to walk over and listen. Why didn't the leader just tell him to do that directly? We don't know. But doing things this way displays his power. Even if it is slow and strange, they don't ask questions, they just do as they're told.
Does anyone challenge Senor Guerra for this position?
Slowly from the shadows of the back of the room, a figure emerges with some very mystical music to accompany him. Here we see the introduction of the classic Bond henchman, which has not really been a thing in any of the Daniel Craig films. He's also known as Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Welcome. State your credentials for succeeding Senior Scarra.
Oh, credentials. So he's going to state his past employment, what makes him qualified for the position here. Yeah, that makes sense. I think he's hired. Notice how no one even bats an eye at this level of brutality. This man was just brutally murdered, and no one even cared. Least of all the leader. He didn't even stop it. The leader finally begins talking to everyone once again, and I'll let the end of the scene play out, and then we can go back and talk about it.
It's funny. All that excitement in Mexico City rang a distant bell. And now, suddenly, this evening, it makes perfect sense. Welcome, James. It's been a long time. And finally, here we are. What took you so long? Cuckoo.
Ciao, Mickey Mouse.
So first, as soon as you hear this,
Welcome, James.
me personally, I think I would just faint. He is in the most powerful evil organization in the world, and in a split second you realize that the leader knows that you are not only in the room, but also he knows exactly where you are in the room. Immediately after he says, "Welcome, James," we get an amazing shot of the camera slowly panning in on James's face as the fear and realization sets in that he knows everything. Pure terror.
It's been a long time.
Hearing these words, we can only assume that this is a man from James's past, but we have no idea who it could be, and neither does James. Look at his face, it says it all. Confusion and fear. Finally, we get his last words.
Cuckoo.
For anyone seeing this for the first time, you have no idea what this means, and it is explained later in the film. This weird and creepy thing that he says with this evil smile on his face. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just leave it at that. Finally, James throws the security guard over the railing onto the large table, and we see a glimpse of the leader just walking out, already out of harm's way, just gone. The buildup, the tension, the dread in James's face, this scene is absolutely beautiful. But it also serves as an amazing introduction to the leader's character. Later, his name is revealed as Blofeld, one of the classic Bond villains. This scene showcases just how much power he has, not with the actions that he does, but by the way he conducts himself, making his assistants do the simplest things for him. The long pauses between speaking or giving commands, his silhouetted and mysterious presence at the end of the table, his atmosphere as soon as he walked into the room, almost as if he had an aura surrounding him. This is someone to fear, and the film establishes that beautifully. I highly recommend everyone watches this film. It really is a fantastic film. All the Daniel Craig films are. I hope everyone learned a bit about how effective Spectre is at establishing its characters in amazing scenes like this one. Thank you for watching.